work with us and we buy your truck from you, we can get it bought in as quickly as a few hours, and typically no longer than 10 working days. It's the paperwork and getting somebody out there to actually put their hands on the truck that really determine how long it's going to take typically. That can be the tricky part of it. So it just really kind of depends. If let's say you're in Chicago, you've got one truck and it's Monday during the week, we won't have any problem getting an inspector out there to look at that truck. It's a major city. They're going to have all kinds of guys that they can use as an inspector in that city. They can probably have somebody out there Tuesday. He'll look at your truck the next day, take a bunch of pictures, do what we have to do to make sure the truck checks out, have us to report that following day, which is a Wednesday, and then we can start the funding process. Where it gets a little trickier is let's say we work with a fleet out of Malvern, Arkansas, and a lot of times we'll inspect 10, 15 trucks at a time when we do that. It's a little bit trickier if you've got to get a guy out of a rural area or an area that's not by a large metropolitan city, and he's going out and he's going to inspect 10, 15, 20, 30. I mean, we just had a 70 truck deal where they'd go and inspect 70 trucks. That gets a little bit tougher, the logistics on that, and especially if it's not in a major city or a market where they've got an inspector right there. So it usually is the inspections are the bottleneck. And again, it's not always. Sometimes if the truck's local, we'll go look at it ourselves, and there's zero bottleneck on that. I'll make you an offer. If you agree on the price of the truck, I'll be out there, and me or one of my sons in 15 or 20 minutes to go look at the truck. So a lot of it just depends on where the truck's at, how many you've got, how far away it is from a population center, that type of thing. I believe that we've done a deal, bought or sold the truck in all of the lower 48. So I've not done anything in Alaska, and we've not done anything in Hawaii, but we've done something in every other state in the country. So the geography really doesn't. The only reason it impacts us at all is if you're far away from a population center or any type of major city. It will be a little bit longer sometimes before we can get an inspector out there to look at it. We work with 700 dealers across the country. So if you're up in Maine and you've got a group of 30 trucks up there and they're Freightliners, I've got 15, 20 different guys that are in the far northeast that would be interested in those trucks that I can go to talk to about the values or moving the trucks onto. So the geography of the trucks really doesn't matter to us at all. The only difference it makes is if it's local, I can get out there and look at it myself real quick. And we typically don't deal with trucks from Alaska and with Hawaii just because of the shipping challenges. We almost always use the driveway company, which means that there really aren't any challenges. They send a driver out there, either fly into that city, or if we work with one of the major transportation companies, they'll usually have some drivers pretty close to where the truck's at. They'll send a guy in there, he'll have somebody else from the company drop him off, or whatever he has to do to get there. He'll go to your truck, he'll jump in the truck and drive it to where it needs to go. So we almost always use driveway, companies that actually drive the truck back from the place we buy it from to the place where it's going to. And then they can also do what are called three-ways, where if you get a guy, he can go out there and grab one truck and pull two other trucks with that one truck. So really the transport isn't near as big as issues it may initially sound like it was. We can get the trucks, once we get them paid for, we can get them moved pretty quick, and there really isn't much of a challenge if it's in the lower 48. Most of these major transportation companies, you can get a driveway driver in there pretty quick, and he'll drive it anywhere you want as long as you're willing to pay him, the per mile charge. So.